Hey, welcome to the Ring Ads live stream. Make sure my audio is okay. We are, January 28th now? Yep, audio's looking good. Okay, so let me go ahead and grab the link for the Zoom because we always do that, right? For those of you who are tuning in live and want to um, come in live and ask questions live, you're more than welcome to. Or if you don't want to jump on live with me, that's fine. Use the comment section for the stream itself. And if you're in Facebook, most likely, or YouTube, that's fine. It doesn't matter. I'll be able to see. I'll be able to see your questions most likely. Okay. So let me open this up so I can uh, see the comments. Awesome. All right, and I'm going to paste in the. Pause that. I'm going to paste in the link for the Zoom, like I said I would. We've got some pretty cool stuff to cover today. Some things that have been on my mind that I feel like you guys could very much benefit from, as always. But I'd say this is one of the most important lessons that you would need to learn as a business owner in general, but specifically as an agency owner and running this pay per call agency model that I teach. Okay, um, over the years, I found resistance to the idea, whether intentional or unintentional, sometimes both, sometimes one or the other. Sometimes it starts as one and then goes to the other and back to the other. It's weird, but I've seen it all, or most of it, I would say, not maybe all of it, but damn near all of it. And so I'm not really surprised by much anything anymore when it comes to what results you guys are getting or not getting based on what you're doing or not doing, right? So I felt like it's probably a good idea to cover some things here. Now, you've heard me probably talk about it a million times, and it bears repeating, of course. The three simple rules to massive success when it comes to running this pay per call agency model, and I've had these rules for years. Um, they work very well. They work very well, and I'll explain them a little bit more in depth and give you some idea of how science backs me up on this. Uh, and also give you some insight on how I design things and why I build things the way I build them and train the way I train, because it gives you some good perspective on what to expect and also a good model for you to continue building your agency model or in the future other businesses, right? It's a good model to have. So um, there's the phone. Cool. So rule number one, right? So let's go over the three rules real quick, just in case everybody, not everybody, in case a few of you don't know what those are. I know we have some newer people here, and so welcome, by the way. Rule number one is follow the training. And I know you probably have heard that from other people. If you just follow the training, if you just follow the training. Well, I've gone into much more detail on that, and I'll do so here as well. But following the training that I have is super important. I always encourage people to be creative. I love creative people. Um, the whole purpose of Ring Ads is actually so that you can give back to the community, and the only way you can do that is by getting creative, right? Should make sense. Um, but not initially, just not initially. That's all. Meaning, I have a set of systems that will take you to seven figures and beyond without you ever even having to do a lot of your own thinking, right? Like critical thinking, that is. Like you don't have to solve problems that haven't already been solved and then some to those levels. And that's not a joke. Like we've got tons of examples of that, members and people that I've trained over the years, former students, existing students, or current students, and I guarantee you'll be future students that fall into that category as well. And it's because they follow these three simple rules. So number one, follow the training. You hear that a lot, I know that, but what it comes down to is this. Uh, what I have is predictable, meaning it's built on a model of momentum, and we're going to talk about the science and the physics of that. For those of you who aren't physics majors, it's okay. You're going to be able to understand it. I'm going to lay it down for you in layman's terms, okay? But it revolves around, pun intended, revolves around centrifugal force, right? A lot of people didn't know that I knew what the hell that was, or even how to spell it, but I very much do. I know my accent probably makes you think that I'm just some country bumpkin or something, doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. But I guarantee you, there are plenty of things that I've learned along my journey, and I'm more than willing and happy to share that with you. Let me know in the comments you can hear me okay, because I haven't seen anybody comment yet. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I'd like to hear from you, know who's out there, who's with us. I know some people, actually, I had a conversation earlier this week where somebody said, yeah, I'm tuning in from work, so I can't really comment. And so for those of you who can't comment, don't feel bad at all. I know you're there. I know you're watching. Appreciate you. Love you. Um, but if you are able to comment, let me know where you're tuning in from. Love to hear from you. Okay, so following the training, centrifugal force, and I'll explain in much more detail what that's based off of is the core concept is momentum, and or well, it would be considered velocity in the centrifugal force formula, but that's getting a little bit nerdy on you. I'll cover that in just a second. The idea is this: that the more you're in alignment with what I'm teaching you, the better results you're going to have, right? The greater force on the agency that you're building is going to be. Okay, that's the main thing that I can tell you about what happens when you follow the training. Now, if you decide to do your own thing or deviate, here's what happens. You're no longer within alignment of what I'm teaching. And so the model, the projections, the predictions, it's a very predictive model that I teach, growth model as well, that is not affected as long as you're in alignment. If you're out of alignment, guess what? It's going to be, your results are going to be, I don't know, right? It's an unknown. The only thing I do know is that if you're in alignment with the training, then you're going to do well. I see a bunch of people tuning in. Cool. Questy's here. Julian's here. Awesome. Good to have you guys. Thanks for commenting. Let me know you're here. The idea is you've got to stay in alignment because it'll produce the predictable result. Like most of you are here because you see the results other people are getting. They're not getting that because they got creative first. They're getting those results because they set that aside, because they believed what I was teaching enough, or learned the hard way, some of them, trying their own thing first and then coming into alignment with what I teach. Like I said, in and out, right? Some people come in and out. Some people come out, or out, come back in, stay in. Some people start from the in position and never leave, out of alignment, we're saying, and everything in between, right? All kinds of examples of that. But I'll tell you right now, if someone stays within alignment long enough, right, before you start getting creative on your own, you're going to have the habits and successful habits built and the momentum built. And momentum builds in ways of like financial support, meaning you're able to financially afford testing new things, trying new things. You have staff and resources at your disposal to be able to test and try new things without sacrificing what's already currently working for you. But if you're starting from scratch, probably not a good idea to just do your own thing. You probably want to follow the training as closely as possible because that's where the results are coming from. Okay. Not because I said so, it's just because the facts are the facts, right? Anybody that's ever learned from me and gotten results, whether they admit it or not, is because they were in alignment, right? And most people tend to come correct on that and admit, yes, when I wasn't getting results, I wasn't in alignment, or yes, when I got results, I was definitely in alignment. Okay. With the training, follow the training. So that's number one. Number two is being consistent. So obviously you have to apply consistent velocity and to the mass and have a consistent set of mass in order to produce a consistent force, right? In other words, to grow the business consistently, you need to be consistent. In order to build momentum, you have to maintain consistency. If you're not consistent or if you're inconsistent, then what's going to happen is that momentum is going to take hits. Now, if you built it up to a certain size, momentum-wise, we're saying the agency, maybe you can afford a hit or two, right? If you're starting out from scratch or even bootstrapping this business from nothing or hardly nothing, or hardly anything, then you can afford less of that, much less of that, right? If you're coming from a place where you already have a successful business, or you've sold a business recently and you're looking to jump into this as an agency model and build it out because you're semi-retired or whatever it is you're looking to do, then maybe you're coming from a place of strength. That's different. You have much more financial resources and time to be able to afford some of those mistakes more than someone who's bootstrapping, if that makes sense. But no one I know that makes any money, or doesn't make money, actually, nobody I know on either side of the aisle there, making money or not, wants to spend money needlessly learning lessons that could have been learned without spending the money, right? And here I am telling you, these are the guidelines, these are the rules, right? Follow the training, be consistent, and number three is always reach out to support. So some of you are doing that, and that's great. You got to be consistent in that too, though. Showing up to live streams like Kwesi, Julian, these guys are around often, right? They're around often. They're around all the time, actually, and that's good. For those of you who, there are others too as well, but I'm just saying for the people that you see results from, you want to know what's how they're doing that. They're reaching out to support, and not just the support desk. That's one way, but they're also digging into the training. They're coming onto the live streams, right? They're coming into the Facebook group and asking questions. Those are all great, not habits, but well, habits, yes, but those are all great signs that you are following number three, right? Rule number three. So good on you for that. Those of you who are doing that. If you're not doing that, start doing that, along with following the training and being consistent. So now let's talk real quick. And while I'm talking about centrifugal force here, and I'm going to get a little nerdy on some people, so bear with me on that. But before I jump into that, if you have questions, feel free to ask again in the comment section of this live stream. No problems answering those questions. It could be anything from client acquisition to agency setup to agency scaling to, if you're at that stage, to campaign optimization, campaign setup, advanced optimization, whatever it is you need, right? I'm here to answer those questions for you and get you moving in more in the direction you want to, in other words, build that momentum that you're looking for. So if you want to ask questions, ask in the comment section, or at the top of this or towards the top of this comment section, you'll find a Zoom link that you can come into the Zoom Live and ask questions. Feel free to do that. I'll do my best to keep my eye on the waiting room over there, and we'll it'll let you in the room into the Zoom room, and we will answer questions, right? I'll help you out, whatever you need. All right, so centrifugal force. So if I were to go to Google and type in centrifugal force, I would come up with, let me see if I can pull my screen up here real quick. Make sure that screen's it. Yep, okay, perfect. So you'll see centrifugal force. Let's see if I can find a good, let's start with images. Usually that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. It's got the formula on it too. Let's take a look at that and also take a look at the website. Okay, so actually, let's just go to the website. Let's take a look at this. See if this is what we need. It's got the formula. There's the formula. Where's the formula? I just saw it. There it is. Okay, so there's the main formula. We'll talk about that in a second. Where's that image at? Where's that awesome image at? Boom, there she is. Okay, so now you may not understand a lot of this, and I'm going to get a little nerdy for those that maybe need it, and that's okay. But here's the deal on this. For some reason, there's an ad. There we go. Okay. Man, they have monetized the shit out of this site. Okay. Centrifugal force. Okay. This is what I want you to do is picture, and hopefully you guys can see my mouse here. Here in the middle, this is the business model that I teach you, right? And if you're in alignment and you apply velocity, right? So take a look at the formula. We'll go back up to the formula real quick. Let's talk about the formula. I guess that'd be the best place to start. So if we look at this, velocity squared, right? That's the velocity of the moving body, okay? Velocity of the moving body. And R is going to be the distance of the moving body. So R is set by me, right? The velocity is set by you. In other words, the speed you choose to work at. So if you put 1 to 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, you have sufficient velocity, right? Based on what I teach you. I always teach you 1 to 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's all you need. You want to put in more by all means. If you want to put in less, probably not the best idea, right? Because it's not sufficient enough velocity. It's not going to help you be consistent enough, right? That's the whole point there. All right, so velocity squared. Now, I've defined very well what kind of velocity you need and why many times over, but now you know, right? And so M is the mass, right? So R R is the, well, let's go back to R. R is the distance of the moving body from the center. Okay, so the distance has been set by me, meaning the training. This is the training. So it's like, hey, listen, this is exactly what you need to do. This is how far distance wise you need to be out from what you're trying to get force from, right? So I've given you the answers here to this part of the equation, right? Now the mass is what you actually build in the agency. So this is agency building. This is where the velocity of you learning 1 to 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, right? On the training that I've given you here, right, for the distance, that's the settings, if you will, the training. You apply those, the time and the training. So think of this as time and training, right? I'm breaking this down for you guys really simply, but time and training, right? And that's you multiply that by the mass of what you're actually building, the mass of the business. So 1 client, 5 clients, 10 clients, 100 clients, that kind of thing, but not just client mass, right? It's also, a lot of people think mass of, or size of a business is about how many clients you have. It's not. It's also about the systems and processes you build from, guess what, the training down here, right? And the time invested in building that, on that training to build those systems and processes that govern the hiring and training of staff and the staff themselves. That all is considered mass. It's all part of your business, okay? And all of that. So time and training, your time invested, right, based on my recommendations, excuse me, based on my recommendations, squared, right, over the training, right? So time and training right there multiplied by the business as you grow it. So the bigger, by the way, the bigger the mass gets, what do you think happens to the force? By the way, time over training multiplied by the size of your business, the mass of your business as it grows, equals the amount of force. That's what centrifugal force is. Now, if we were to go back down here and take a look at the image, where's that image at? There she is. Okay, so if we were to take a look at this, now you've got time over training equals the size of the business, or multiplied by the size of the business equals force, right? So if we look at this, this is, we'll talk about centripetal force here in a second as well, but you want growth in the business, right? Growth in the business means, boom, you're gonna grow bigger, right? Well, what happens when you increase the mass? Guess what? The distance here, right? That training gets further and further out, because I train you, yes, on how to run ads to drive phone calls, and then I train you on how to the distance here gets further as well, as the mass builds too. So the mass gets bigger as well, but also the distance gets further from that mass. So it's really, it doesn't end up being just a straight circle. It ends up being like this Fibonacci kind of spiral. If you picture, you see my mouse going kind of expanding out from that. That's much more accurate for what we're building, what it looks like. But the entire time you have that centrifugal force pulling outward, right, growing that business. And again, it's through the training that you apply with the time that you have, multiplied by the mass of the business. So as the business gets bigger, that's why things get so much easier if you just follow the training and you are consistent. In other words, applying consistent force and having support to help guide you on the distance of what you need to be working on. Like, you don't work on systems and processes and hiring and training staff yet if you haven't even driven a phone call to a client, or even have a client yet, or haven't even built the agency site, right? So you got to start with this really tight, tiny core, and we build out the mass, right? That core mass. And so it gets bigger and bigger and bigger the entire time. So there's several things we're working on here, if you notice. The distance, we're also increasing based on the training that's needed, okay? And that equals that force. That's how you end up with exponential results, because otherwise it would just be kind of going in a circle, and we just, end up at 20 clients and have 20 clients, and that's it. And we'd stay at 20 clients, and we'd have the same systems and processes, the same people, blah, 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 right? But instead we spiral out, because that's what centrifugal force is wanting to do. Like, if you gave your business more mass, or built more mass in your business and gave it more distance, like if you put something on the end of a string and started swinging it around, and you gave it more slack in the string and you kept swinging around, in other words, kept applying that, what happens is the force pulls on that, and it will meet that slack. It will pull that slack taut as you pull that around. And so that becomes that spiral that we talk about, that growth, that upward spiral of growth. Now, if you decide to get creative, right, we're over here focusing on building the core. Here's what that looks like. Let's go over what no-nos look like. So, and this is where a lot of people fall victim to not understanding how there's actual science that backs this stuff up. So, we'll talk about centripetal force here in just a second, but the idea is this: if you decide to, well, I want to go and try something over here, and you divide the mass. So, like you put mass here, you put mass here. Um, can you get both of them up and spinning? If you're bootstrapping, most likely not. In most cases, people that aren't bootstrapping still have great difficulty in trying to divide the mass like that, or try their own thing out here, because they're trying to get these results and spiral out from there to get the results they see, like all the screenshots and successful members you see. You're trying to get those results, but you're over here doing this shit over here, way over here, right? You're not even where the mouse is. You're not even close to where we're at, right, in alignment. And sometimes the reason why we have live streams like this and cover things again and again is because sometimes you think you're here and you're trying to be here, but you're actually over here, right? And maybe you're not that far out. Maybe sometimes you think you, like I've heard so many people so many different times. Man, I'm following the script. I don't understand why I'm not closing deals. Really? Okay, let's listen to the phone calls, right? Let's listen to your recordings. I don't have any. Okay, well that's problem number one, because that right there. You're already out of alignment, right? Because I teach you to have those for your own good, not for mine, for your business. This is all your business right here, not mine. So, okay, now you got recording, so you're back into alignment, but your sales still aren't closing, so that's out here. You swear you're following the script, but guess what? The call recordings show you're not following the script in almost every case. And when I say almost, I mean damn near every case. Okay, I can count on one hand how many times someone has not been, or someone that has been following the script that is not pulling in the deals. And most of the time, it's because of things like tonal patterns and small course corrections and things that we can fix very, very quickly within a 10, 20-minute phone conversation, or a 10, 20-minute live stream, rather, in most cases, right? I worked with a lot of people one-on-one on this too, by the way. So, um, you got to be in alignment, right, to produce that. Now, centripetal force, this is the force inward, right? So this is me. This is a, not to get too comical on you, but this is, I'm constantly trying to push your results and help you focus your energy and results in that core area, right? So anytime you come out of that, guess what? You're going to meet that centripetal force. You're going to meet that you're not in alignment. I like that this arrow's in red. That works. It means, hey, danger, danger. Will Robinson. You're exiting the area of alignment, right, to build that core mass of the business. Um, and the defined distances that are going to get you the results you want within this predictable pattern that spirals out, right? Remember, you got to imagine this spirals out. But yeah, that's what most people don't get, is that they're over here doing this and they think they're doing this, or worst case, they just say, well, I'm just going to do this, and then uh, forget this, right? Because I think this is better. And it's hey, it's your business. At the end of the day, I'm here to guide you. I'm here to teach you and get you the results that you see and say you want from people that have already been there, done that, right? So this is not a new path, right? This is not old as the hills, but this is a very well laid path, very scienced out, if you will. It's very much down to a science. And by the way, I like to leverage pretty much everything I do with this concept in mind of centrifugal force. Centripetal force, that usually ends up being me or the systems and processes that I build to help maintain that uh, mass in place, right? So that it doesn't get on a wobble or come out of alignment from what I want. And so that I use that. You can use that as well in your future businesses, but definitely in this business model, this applies very much so. And I told you I'd get a little nerdy on you. Hope I didn't get too nerdy on you, but yeah, that's centrifugal force, okay, and how that applies. Quessy is in the waiting room. I'm going to let him in real quick and answer any questions he's got, of course. Let's see, what else? Questions in the comments. Let's see, what do we got here? Anything? Questi wants me to look at his campaign, he says. Okay, so I will do that as soon as he gets set up with his audio um, in Zoom. Adrian's here. Good to see you, Adrian. Uh, Mohammed's here. Hey, Mohammed. Good to see you. Uh, Always good to have familiar faces. All right, Questi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. Hey, man, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think I had to mute Facebook. Can you hear me, William?
I can hear you. 100%.
Brilliant,
Okay,
brilliant. This is the first time I'm coming on Zoom, so
no worries. So
yeah,
tell me how I
yeah,
can help. You said
yeah,
campaign?
William. Yeah, so I set up my campaign on Monday, okay?
Okay.
And I started small as usual with I nearly said £5, $5, and increasing it by $2 a day, okay? Because my vertical is quite competitive, over the years I've been in, so I know it takes a lot. And I still haven't seen any clip or impression, nothing at all since Monday. So
Like
I want you
zeros.
to have a
When
look.
you say nothing at all, let's get very specific.
Hmm.
Are you saying zeros across the board? Not ones or twos or
Yeah,
tens, but zeros.
zeros. Yes,
Okay, what's
yes,
happened
that's what I
is
mean.
Google
Yeah.
has, and this happens from time to time, it happens to new accounts, it happens to old accounts, it happens to anybody and everybody, okay, from time to time.
Hmm.
Here's what you're going to need to do. You're going to need to reach out to Google support and say, hey, my
Okay.
campaign's not running. What's going on? Okay. Unless you're running with like three keywords or something, then you shouldn't be having that problem. Like if you have keywords that are eligible on first page bid and you're still at zero impressions, like that's a problem. I'll be more than happy to take a look at your campaign, but I can't turn it on for you.
Yeah.
That's going to be Google, and they have an internal.
Hmm.
They don't like to talk about this. They do have an internal flagging process. It's nothing personal. It's automated
Okay.
most likely, and what they do is they just want to make sure that everything is okay or that everything's good. That's why I say most of the time it happens with newer accounts, but I've seen it happen. I've had it happen to me. I've seen it happen to existing accounts, older accounts, accounts running tens of thousands of dollars a day. Have this happen from time to time on almost always brand new campaigns, and you're going to
Oh, I
see,
see.
yeah, you're going to see zeros across the board. If you see zeros across the board, like actual zeros, right? I've had people tell me,
Hmm.
well, there's nothing happening, and there is something happening.
Yeah.
That's different. But reach out to Google support in the upper right hand corner of Google Ads. You'll find a question mark icon, and
Uh-huh.
most countries have, especially now, have chat enabled. So catch them
Hmm.
during support hours, and they'll be listed.
Okay.
And reach out to them and say, don't tell them you know about their review process. They don't like that. But the
Hmm.
idea is, hey,
Okay.
listen, my campaign's not running. It's enabled. It's been able to run, eligible to run for like 2 days. Nothing's happening or 4 days in your case. It's zeros across the board. Can you
Yeah.
can you tell me what's going on? And they'll tell you, oh yeah, everything seems to be fine. It should start running here in a few minutes. And then keep in mind their servers refresh data in the campaigns every 15 or so minutes. So when they say that everything's okay at that point, um, or that they've checked in on your campaign, everything's okay, you're going to have to wait about half an hour or so to be safe before you start or before you're eligible to see any kind of data coming in, and make sure that it's 30 minutes within the hours that you've set for that campaign as well, right? Because you can't pull in data on after hours on a campaign if the hours are set, right?
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm more than happy to take a look, but I think that's going to be most likely your issue, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's zeros across the board.
Yep. Yeah, it's an easy fix, and it's unfortunately it's not something I can fix or anybody else can fix outside of Google. The good news is, like I said,
Okay.
they're pretty responsive with it. I've seen them, by the way, for everybody else as well, future reference. I've seen them use that as an excuse to say, well, would you like a campaign review? That whole thing, and just politely decline, right? Say, please, no,
Okay.
just turn my campaign on. You know what I'm saying? And they'll get the hint, right? That tells them that you're in the know, without calling them out on it. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
is what it is
Yeah.
on that, unfortunately, but it is an easy fix. It's something that
Okay.
it's something they're going to be able to fix right away, and you'll see an immediate impact from that. The other thing I will tell you is that on an accelerated, there's two bid schedules that I teach now. There's standard and accelerated. Standard's going to be $1 to $2 every 1 to 2 weeks after you start seeing traffic on bid bumps. And
Hmm.
if you're on an accelerated schedule, which it sounds like you are, it's $1 a day preferably, right? Even if you know the
Yeah.
vertical, I'd still do $1 bumps because it's too much of a gap and too tight of a time frame on a brand new campaign. Like,
Okay.
is this your first client or first campaign in this vertical
Um, this time around, yeah.
this time around? So are you pulling from any pre-existing data for this vertical or campaign?
Not at all.
Okay.
So I've started. I've started fresh with Mirror,
Then what I would
Vineyards
do,
Mirror. So
okay, then what I would
Mirror.
do
Yeah.
is go back to $1 a day, right? Only bump
Okay.
one, only on
Okay.
an
Okay.
accelerated schedule, only bump $1 a day. Other than that, sounds like you got a good handle on it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, thanks a lot. I'll contact their support then with regards to the campaigns not running. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I know it's a pain in the ass, but it's a hell of a lot better than what's going on over on Facebook right now. I can tell you that with their ads platform. But yeah, I've dealt with this for years now, off and
I
on. Like
see.
I said, I've seen absolute brand new accounts get dinged with it um, on 1 or 2 campaigns, and then nothing for months and months, and then they get dinged again, and they're like, "What the hell?" And I'm like,
Okay.
"I don't know, man." Like they just decided to flag you for, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, they did try to sell me a review." And so I say sell, you know what I mean? They try to make recommendations for you, and it's like, no, thank you. No, thank you. Um, but I've seen it happen to people, like I said, that have tons of money rolling through an account. It's just something in their back office, something in their systems and processes that either automated or semi-automated that um, campaigns from time to time will have those zeros across the board for a couple days. Don't let it go more than a couple days in the future, because like
Okay.
if it's an actual set of zeros across the board on an enabled campaign,
Hmm.
that means they've held your campaign up for review for something got flagged, not necessarily something negative or against policy, but something caught their attention, or they just decided it was time to speak to you in person to make sure you're a real person, or maybe a combination of that. And can we make some recommendations so you spend more money with
Yeah.
us? Could be a combination of those things, or one of those things individually. So, but that's nature of the beast, right? Nothing unexpected
Okay.
there, and easy fix, 100%.
Brilliant. Brilliant. It could be because I've had this. Hello.
I'm here.
Yeah, yeah, I lost you there.
Oh,
Yeah, because I hadn't used this account for about a year plus. I've had this account since about 2015, 16. So it's quite an old account. But for about a year and a half now, I hadn't, been there logging any campaigns. So
that might have been
yeah,
what
that could
triggered
be.
it for them. Like, oh man, there's so much
Yeah,
inactivity. Did they
yeah,
cancel your account, or not cancel, but you know what I'm saying, like suspend your
yes,
account?
yes,
That
yeah.
might
It
be
was
what.
canceled for some time.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
might be what happens. Like, I think they do that after like what is it, 15 months or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, of inactivity. Yeah,
if you have inactivity on
yeah.
an account and then all of a sudden you reactivate it and then you load it in a new campaign, they're
Hmm.
like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But they don't
Okay.
say that. This is how they say that, if that makes sense. They don't just call you up and say,
Yeah,
"Yo, man, what are you trying to do?" They just don't
but
run the campaign, and then it's like, well, if he's a legit person, then
mhm.
he's gonna reach out to us and support, and we're gonna know it, right?
Okay. Uh, Interesting enough, okay, all my ads, I mean, for each campaign within a few minutes were approved. Within a few minutes, all my ads came back approved. So,
Well,
I'll reach out to them.
yeah, that could be because of the past history of the account, meaning you were
Okay.
granted initial approval from the automated systems. There's still probably a
Okay.
manual review that's going to happen to your ad copy in the future if it hasn't already happened. It's been 4 days, so it might have already happened. Um, but the reason the campaign itself is not running is because of what I just described. Yeah. And that makes
Okay.
much more sense to
Okay.
me because I've seen that happen
Hmm.
more often on inactive accounts that are
Yeah.
recently reactivated. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. 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 Brilliant. All right. I'll contact their support and take it from there. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, keep
All
us
right.
posted,
Thanks a
of
lot, man.
course.
Yeah. 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 I'm keeping on moving every time. I'm still on the
Good.
move.
Did that
I did.
did the
Mhm.
centrifugal force thing help you kind of understand?
Of course,
Good.
I've heard of that before anyway, as it goes, and it really resonates with me. It does. Yeah, it does a lot.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah, and also I was on the phones on Tuesday and yesterday,
Uh-huh.
and I've got a couple of follow-ups, to do, and and now with the consistency, the confidence is there. Certain things come automatically,
Yep.
and I still have the script. I mean, and I'm
You
recording
always have it.
myself.
Always have it, man.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, 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 yes.
Good.
So I'm enjoying the ride, and I know something good is just around the corner for me, and I believe in the process. Yeah, and I'm working towards it. Yeah,
Well, man, I'm happy to have you with us as always. Keep us
yeah,
posted in the group.
will do.
Keep coming to the calls, and as your campaign becomes active, we can
Mhm.
next call. So February 14th, we let's take a look at it together,
Yeah,
and start optimizing the crap out of it, right? And in the
brilliant,
meantime, you go
brilliant.
after some clients and start pulling in more
Yeah,
clients. That's going to get you more data. And so by the time
yeah.
we do optimization,
Hmm.
you're going to do optimization on your own. But I'm saying by the time you
Yeah.
and I do it together, we're going to have a ton of data for us to be able to go through on a call and on the next call.
Okay.
And that's going to be really helpful for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. So,
I just can't wait. I just can't wait. I'm really, really happy to be here too. Yeah.
well, keep doing your thing, man. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
And we're here for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome,
Thank
my
you.
man. All right.
Bye bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.
All
Bye.
right. Let's see. Questions in the comments. What do we got here? Uh, Adrian says the prizes for December Dash. When and how do we get them? Yes, Adrian, I covered that in the last session. The last live stream was what was that? January 14th. It was my bad because I forgot to cover it at the beginning. I covered it at the very end. So thanks for asking the question again. What I want you to do, and there's a few of you that I announced towards the end of that session. So if you don't know if you won or not, most of you that won do know this, but the ones that don't, what I want you to do is submit a support ticket with your best your best mailing address and your PayPal email, right? And there's some verification and stuff that I still need to do on my part, but I'll be getting to that. The idea is, though, go ahead and submit a support ticket, and you can do that either through sending an email to successteam at ringads.com, or you can um, hit the contact us page on the ringads.com site. You can hit support within the software in the bottom left hand corner. Um, there's a ton of different ways you can hit support up with the with your info for that. But send in a ticket so that I have your information. I'll follow up with you as soon as I have all that kind of stuff in place and in line, and start sending stuff out. Okay. Um, Raymond says, "Hi, William. Raymond from Ireland. Nice to meet you. I don't think I've ever seen you on our sessions before, so at least publicly. So happy to see you here. Welcome. Welcome to Ring Ads. Um, yeah, that's all I really had for you guys. I mean, if you guys have any questions, comments, like I said, ask away in the comment section. If you want to come on live to the Zoom link is in the comment section as well. Posted under the Ring Ads comment there. You can come on live, ask your questions as always, or if you are shy or you don't need to ask something live, you just need to ask a simple question in the comments. I'm more than happy to help you with those things, but I don't want to keep everybody um, from the tasks at hand. Right, it's the middle of Thursday here at Stateside, which is prime prospecting time, right, for those of you that are in client acquisition mode. So I don't want to. I'll spend as much time as you know on these calls. I block out a lot of time for these calls just in case. and sometimes they go several hours, and that's fine. Sometimes they go 30 minutes, and that's also fine. So if you have questions, I'm more than happy to help. If you if you don't have any questions, well, let's all get back to work. Uh, Raymond says, "I've been following you for years since Chris Winters." Cool, man. I've got all these people that sometimes I forget that I've been around for a while, and people know me from way back. Makes me feel old, but in a good way. So thank you for that, Raymond. Appreciate that. Um, yeah, anything I can help with, you guys, let me know. Uh, but I thought it was important for us to cover that at the beginning of the call with the centrifugal force, how that actually applies to what I teach and what I've built for us, right? And why it works so well, right? Maybe that's something that some of you might be missing is well, how do I get the results that he shows or that other people show? Uh, you apply the velocity or the time and the training, in other words, velocity squared over that distance, right? Multiply that by the mass of your business, and as the mass of the business grows, that obviously means more force. But all of that combined equals the total force applied, which implies the growth of your business, right? So again, got a little nerdy on you, I know, but it's really cool to kind of break things down like that and take a look at them and say, okay, it's not like I just threw a bunch of shit together into a membership area or built the software, Um, it's there's a lot that's gone into why I've done what I've done and why we're going to be doing what we're doing to grow ring ads for you guys as well. But why the set training is what it is. Why I have things simplified and down to a science so well, and what that's going to produce for you, right? So. Um, oh, let's see. Raymond says, I found I could never learn pay-per-call on Callzoo. Is your platform easier to learn pay-per-call? Um, when you say my platform, is it easier? I can tell you that from the old platform that was being run with over there, that I always wanted to uh, improve, but could never do that because I wasn't allowed to from my business partner at the time. It's one of the reasons why I left, actually. Uh, yeah, the software is much improved in that sense. So much so that they even abandoned that old software over there and went with another one that's a little bit easier and more intuitive uh, in their program. But they had to partner with somebody else to do that because they didn't have it. They didn't understand what was needed, and I would dare say that. With that platform over there, that even the new one, it's not quite what it needs to be for building what needs to be built, right? Inside of a pay-per-call agency, and that's not really me knocking them more than it is me explaining the differences between different platforms. Platforms are a dime a dozen. The biggest thing is getting results, right? And we're a one-stop shop where you're going to be able to continue to apply what we teach you in terms of generating phone calls, but also managing the business and growing the business, so scaling it and making the platform much easier and intuitive and more profitable as well. There's things that are built into our platform that you don't have to build yourself because they're built into the platform, into the Ring Ads platform that you can use. For example, the dispute system, auto suspension of campaigns so that you're not wasting money. Things like that. There's a lot of cool stuff like that, and much more on the way that help you manage your agency a hell of a lot easier than maybe you've experienced in the past, right? And that's I say that with I say that from the heart and from direct experience with all the platforms. Almost every platform I can think of, or that you could think of, I've tried it. Okay, including uh, new and old. Okay, so my experience definitely plays a large part into uh, the success that you'll have with the platform, but the platform is not solely responsible for your success. It just think of it as like a magnifying glass. It's going to magnify the efforts that you put in. So if you put in the time and the training, like we talked about in the centrifugal force example earlier in this call, I can help you guide you with that and help you build the mass of the business. RingAds software helps you do that easier, let's say, and that obviously multiply that, it gives you the total force, in other words, growth of your business. So yeah, there's definitely some a lot of things that are easier for you now, and there are things that have been streamlined for you now for sure compared to your past experiences. I can tell you that, or I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Yeah. Does it require time and commitment? Yes, it does. I mean, everything worth doing does, but this doesn't require your entire life or your soul or your firstborn, right? It just requires 1 to 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. You can do that even with a full-time job. I've had people working full-time jobs and end up quitting their full-time job because they were able to just apply 1 to 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, and produce the results. Okay. That said, you follow the 3 simple rules of massive success. Understand the concept of what I was talking about earlier with how it applies to centrifugal force, and that I'm the centripetal force, and you're going to be golden, right? You're going to be right in there, right in alignment, and that's what these live streams are for, is to answer questions like that. It's a good question. Quincy had a good question. That's what these things are for, is that kind of support, right? And the more support that we add, right, we're always adding more, but the more support we add, these calls are never going to go away. I'm always going to do calls on the 14th and 28th. I'm never going to get rid of those unless my health fails me or something, which, knock on wood, God forbid. But if that ever happens, then yeah, I guess maybe I wouldn't be doing the calls. But 14th and 28th, I'll always be here. In the mentorship, I'm always there every Monday, weekly on those calls as well. And the more support we add, sure, those will all be there and be additions, but I will always be here just to make sure that you guys always have something straight from the source, or access to the highest levels of our company, right? Because whether it's the platform, or whether it's support or feedback, or you just want to tell me how awesome your business is going and ask me if there's something you can do that make it better. Whatever it is that you got, I want to be able to be here for you for that. And again, remain consistent on that. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm awake every morning, 4 a.m. learning digital marketing. Good. Good. I would say the best thing would be for you, Raymond, is going to be to commit and focus to one thing, right? You don't have to be the master, right? You just need to get good, right? When you get good, for example, at committing, let's say you commit to driving phone calls to local businesses, right? That's what the pay-per-call agency model that I teach is all about, right? Can you sell other stuff? Yes, you can. Should you initially? No, not if you want to commit and have that kind of focus, right? That's where that velocity over training, right? That's where that time over training comes into place. You want to make sure you're focused in the right place, okay, with the right thing. And with enough time, that helps you build that mass, right? That helps you build the mass of the business itself. And so you get several clients doing pay-per-call, right, or buying phone calls from you in your agency. And then I can show you how to scale that model. There are people that are still only selling phone calls for a living that make millions of dollars a year easily. And I say easily, it took work to get there, but not selling their firstborn 80-hour weeks. Nothing crazy, right? They didn't have to sell their soul or be completely unhappy or miserable, because I teach you how to scale, right, through staff and hiring and training and systems and processes for all of those things, including the systems and processes that the staff runs for you, which makes you a true business owner, right? That's why your 1 to 2 hours a day, 5 days a week never changes. It just, what you spend that time on does, right? That's the difference. That's where the distance thing we talked about inside of the centrifugal force comes into play, right? The distance is going to change. That string is going to get longer as you spiral out in your growth of the agency. You're going to be working on different things, right, than you were when you 2 months from now than when you started, and 6 months from now from 2 months, and et cetera. Okay. So I would challenge you to focus in on one thing, commit to it, learn it, You do not have to be the master at it. If you're going after pay-per-call, that is, you need to be able to do it. And then I can show you how to scale the crap out of it, right? To where you hire people smarter than you, and that's a real thing. Okay, don't be threatened by that. Don't be threatened by intelligence, right? I teach that. So many people are threatened by intelligence. You're not supposed to hire somebody dumber than you. You're supposed to hire somebody smarter than you, right? I call it the Henry Ford model, right? Call it the Henry Ford model. So yeah, I think that covers that. Nobody in the waiting room on Zoom. Let's make this last call for questions, comments. Always here to help, but I don't want to keep you guys, right? Don't want to keep you guys. This looks like it's going to be a short call today, which is okay. Raymond says my two favorites are pay-per-call and Google My Business. You know, uh, Google My Business is not bad. I mean, there's a good market share there for sure in terms of how many calls come through it. Here's the thing, though. It's not. I consider it the house built upon the sand. Okay, because at any time, and I guarantee you, the more people dive into building up GMBs that are not going to actual businesses, like you build up a GMB for yourself and then forward the call to an actual business. That's different than building a GMB for an actual client and it's their actual location, which they would own, by the way, not you. And that doesn't make sense for you. So most people out there teaching GMBs or setting up Google My Business listings. The thing is, it's saturation wise. It's going to reach a point. It hasn't yet, but it's going to reach a point where Google just goes in and says, "Oh, okay, we're going to have to go and actually verify the crap out of these things," and it's going to be the house built on the sand at some point. Right now, you can make money with it. Yeah. Within a couple weeks, you can get even less in some cases. You can get ranking more times than not, 2 weeks to a month or so for Google My Business. I mean, I could teach that. That's not difficult to do. The thing is, and you can get verified listings and all that. That's, again, not difficult to do currently. But again, the shifting sands, and if your house is built on it, man, that thing's going to crumble, right? Very quickly. So I would say diversification is a solid idea, meaning diversification of how you get your phone calls, right? That's why I also am going to be teaching you multiple traffic sources. Currently, I teach you call ads, but there are so many other traffic sources I'm going to be teaching you in order to diversify that so that you're never dependent, like, for example, on one source. So, for example, Facebook ads is kind of wonky lately for the last month or two, actually. Really the last 30 days or so, really, really wonky. People getting accounts shut off for no reason at all. Have to reach out to support, get them turned back on, crazy stuff like that. Google's no different from time to time when it comes to stuff like that. And all ad platforms have challenges, but then there's organic things that we can do. There's things like GMBs, yes, but you never want to have just one source of traffic for phone calls, right? Um, and I would say starting with GMBs because of what I just described to you, at any time they could turn that off and then there goes your entire business model, right? Whereas if you're running ads, highly, highly unlikely that's going to shift so quickly that you can't adapt, right? I've been doing that for years and teaching people how to adapt to the changes to call ads, for example, for years because it's simple. It's super simple, and the shifts are very, very small, right? It doesn't bring the whole house down. It's not a major shift in most cases. And even if it is a major shift, it's not enough to bring the house down because we're able to adapt and work with. Whereas GMBs is a nightmare waiting to happen for a lot of people because that's what they built on. That's all they do. That's all they teach, or that's all they drive phone calls with. And they haven't really expanded yet into call ads or some of the other traffic sources or organic sources for traffic as well. Anyway, take that into account uh, when deciding what to build your house on, right? Rock or sand. Nothing wrong with Google My Business listings and building them out. Like I said, they do work right now, and they are gangbusters right now. Um, Emphasis on right now, right? Emphasis on right now. Make sure that you build out and diversify with uh, your existing clients and with new clients in other traffic sources for driving phone calls. And the best way I know to do that, starting out, is through call ads. Okay. Adrian says, inside Google Ads, do you know how to get a total reach calculation? For example, I had this client who I had to enter zip codes. The city and county was too large to enter. The city and county was too large to enter. How do I find out a total of zip codes? I'm not understanding what you're asking, Adrian. Sorry, I'm typing too fast. Some of that last message needs to be reworded, you say. Okay, that's good because I really didn't get that. What I'm saying is I have multiple zip codes in my campaign to cover the client service area. Okay, inside the location section, Google shows the reach. What I would like to do is calculate the total population reach after all the zip codes are entered. I think if it's over a certain amount of zip codes, they're not going to show you that. I wouldn't focus on that as much as I would making sure you have all three types, right? I'm never concerned about, if you follow what I'm teaching you, which is going after starting out with brand new campaigns, brand new vertical. If that's where you're at, Adrian, I'm not sure, but if that's where you're at, then you start with cities that are 500,000 in population up, okay, so that's not a problem. And as you expand out in your clientele, you can get down to you can go down to 250,000 and up in city population, and use the Wikipedia that I tell you guys about all the time, the top 100 U.S. cities, or excuse me, top U.S. cities by population. If you look that up in Google, top U.S. cities by population, Wikipedia, you will find a list of over 300 cities that are 100,000 plus in population, in ascending order, or excuse me, descending order for population, right? So start with the cities that are 500,000 and up, and then you can expand out to 250,000 up, and also north of 500,000 on up into the bigger cities and larger metro areas. Eventually working your way down to the cities that are 100,000 and up, right? But only after you've got a super dialed in campaign, because everything is dialed in to the point optimization wise where every cent, every dollar that's spent inside of your campaign is going to produce the max efficiency wise results in that area, versus you having to do a lot of trial and error in smaller areas with less volume, right? Because even the highest call volume verticals in smaller areas or rural areas, or 100,000 plus, or excuse me, 100,000 cities or so, or less in a lot of cases, are not going to have enough volume for you to be able to do that well and quickly, right? To do that quickly and to do that well, so efficiently, in other words. I wouldn't be focused on, I'm not sure why you would want to need to know that, but it's not something I would focus on anyway. So my answer is no need to know that. If you insist on knowing that, best thing I can tell you is start with several locations at a time and see if it gives you some kind of not a cumulative, but like a total calculation based on those, and then try a whole new set of zips, a few at a time, right? By the way, zip codes are not the only type of location I teach, right? I teach you the three types. The three types of locations are zip, county, and city. Zip, county, city. Zip, county, city. So make sure you're using all three, as long as you're following what I'm teaching, and you'll be fine, right? Cool. Thanks for clarifying that question too. Appreciate that. Any other questions? We'll make this last call again. I think I already said last call, but just to make sure, give everybody ample time to type in something, comments, or if you want to come into the Zoom, ask a question. More than happy to help as always. Always here to help. Love these calls too. It's always good questions. Everybody's fired up, working on what they need to work on. It's pretty cool. It's a good life. Okay, I'm not seeing anything. All right, well, let's get back to work. Shit, it's been an hour. It's been a damn good hour. I can say that. I'm kind of shocked. I will say most of the time our calls are much longer than this, but I'd say some of you are probably totally okay with the idea of the call being an hour, right? And I'm okay with that. Oh, Adrian says the city and county was too large to enter because the client said they did not drive out too far. I see what you're saying. You're saying the city and county is too big for your client to service, to say they service the entire city or county, right? It's too large. I get that. And so zip codes was the only option for this client. You can use city, just not the city you're thinking of, right? I'm talking about, when I say city, I don't mean, so for example, Houston has a bunch of townships, right? Think townships. So Houston has a bunch of townships within Houston and on the outskirts of Houston that really some of them may even not even be considered part of Houston uh, in terms of city limits, right? But they are considered part of Houston by everybody else that thinks of Houston, right? Like Katy and Sugar Land, right? Like they're their own cities and they have their own stuff, municipal support, whatever, but they are very much on the outskirts and have grown into the side or grown out from the side of Houston, right, as a city. And so those are, if they start, for example, if that client of yours was in Houston and they didn't serve all of the county for Houston, but maybe they do serve Sugar Land, right? Maybe they do go as far as Sugar Land. Well, then you'd be able to add that city or that township in. So definitely look for those. There's going to be a bunch of those, not just zip codes. And if the county is that large that they don't cover all of the county, that's fine, right? And the main city name, that's fine as well. Look for the smaller city names, the townships, okay? All right. I'll see you guys in yeah, you're more than welcome on that, Adrian. Townships, yep. Um, Townships and actual towns, right, outside of Houston, or outside of the major metro area, rather. Houston being an example. Um, See you in 2 weeks. Yep, I will see you guys in 2 weeks, in February 14th. Looking forward to it. We've got some exciting stuff coming down the pipe here soon as well. I'm gonna keep the cards close to the chest on this one, but I'll tell you, there's a smile on my face for a reason. It's going to be really good for you guys. I can promise you that. And can't wait to share it with you guys. So looking forward to it. Hope you guys are doing well. Stay safe out there, wherever you're at, whatever you're working on. And man, last thing I'll say is the economy is, I told you guys way back pre-election that it's going to go one of two ways, right? We're either going to have Trump in and he's going to continue doing what he's doing with the economy, and things are going to go maybe not so well for him personally, but the country's going to be doing pretty great. Or we're going to have Biden in, and good fucking luck in terms of the personal stuff. But business-wise, it's actually even better for us that Biden's in office. That does not mean I like Biden. It doesn't mean I like Trump either. I actually didn't vote, so you know that I'm not really biased when it comes to that. I would say I think if you had to ask me who I liked more in terms of service to the country, I'd say definitely hands down Trump. But that doesn't mean that I would vote, because I don't believe in voting. That's a whole other ball of wax. But the idea is, how does that affect your pay-per-call agency? Well, Biden is fucking people up left and right in our country. It is awesome, except it's not. On a personal level, it really sucks. I hate seeing it. We got 4 years of it at least, if not another 4 after that, before people wise up to politicians in general. Maybe longer than that, I don't know. But what I do know is that it's had a significant impact on the economy, which means our business is in even more need, right? Our service, what we offer, is in greater need now than it has ever been, ever, right? Ever. And looks to be continuing that trend for who knows how long, right? That's an unknown. But as the news gets worse, the business opportunities for us and for our clients that we actually help and save and help them keep their doors open, it gets better and better on that front, right? My heart goes out to the people that are affected by that on a personal level. But again, business-wise, I told you one way or the other, things are going to be good or things are going to be really good, depending on who's in office and what's going on. And I wasn't wrong. I know that. Not to say I told you so or anything, because that's not what I do. But I'm glad to be able to have my fingers on the pulse of things like that, to share that with you and explain to you, hey, these changes and policy changes and things. The bringing Obamacare back, that's one of the most recent things that happened recently here. That's bad news for business. Bad news for business owners. And good news for us, because again, that's government tightening the noose around local business, around middle America, right? So the middle class, and that gives us a chance to come in and help them beat that, right? We're the answer to the problem. We're the solution. And even more so now, glaringly obvious solution whenever we have conversations with potential clients. So keep that in mind. It's very good perspective for what we're going through, what we're dealing with as a country, and to the rest of the world as well. But anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Wanted to, oh wait, we got a question here from Julian. Thought we were done. Just when I was out, I thought I was out, they pulled me back in, right? Nice little Godfather 3 quote. Julian says, when setting up an ad campaign, Google gives me the option to create smart ads instead of being able to do from scratch, as in how is shown in training vids. Should I reach out to them to get it set up the way I want? Smart ads are something that I haven't taught on yet. There's reasons for that, and I don't want to go into them right now other than to say that I will be teaching you how to do those, yes, but it's not, again, it's not something that I'm going to teach or recommend to start with ever, because of all the things that come from the data that you pull in with what I teach. It's predictable. Again, it's that centrifugal force. If you need more understanding on why I'm saying what I'm saying, go back to the earlier part of this call where I talk about the centrifugal force, stay in alignment, or choose to do your own thing, right? Julian, from time to time, I know that you are tempted and tend to want to do your own thing, and that's cool. Hey, it's your business, man. You do you, right? Just understand, I'm not going to say that that's in alignment, right, to make you feel better. My job is not to make you feel better. My job is to make you money and advise you how to build a business that will make you money so that you don't have to continue slaving your ass away on whatever it is you're slaving your ass away on, right? Totally up to you, right? Your choice, but that's where I come out, okay? Just so you know what's being recommended, what's not. I'm not saying smart ads are bad. I'm just saying there are differences, very, very stark differences between smart ads and what I teach to run, okay? And to keep it simple, start with what I teach and you'll do well, okay? I know you're right there at the cusp as well with that, so don't get distracted. Don't let them distract you with sexy shit like that. I'll teach you the sexy shit, just not right this second, right? Okay, good question too, by the way. Appreciate that. Temptation abounds, right? It happens. I get it. I love you guys. Appreciate you. Great questions today. And as always, and I'm here to help, happy to help. 14th and 28th, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the mentorship. For those of you in the mentorship, I know some of you are on the call. We do our weekly calls every Monday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over there in that group. And I know some of you, I'm looking forward to hear from you on Monday to see what you're into, what you're working on. And some of you, I've actually got some work to do with campaigns and whatnot. So be happy to do that. And it's going to be fun. So that said, lots of cool stuff coming down the pipe here soon for all of you. And yeah, this is it, man. It's a great place to be, great time to be in business. If not on a personal level, a great time in our history. It's definitely on a business side with the agency level of what I teach or agency model that I teach. It's definitely a great time, definitely a great time. So take advantage of that, capitalize on that, help your clients capitalize on that so that we all win. And that way, when times are good, times are even better, right? When times are good personally, they'll be even better because we put the work in now, right? When times were good for business, but maybe not so good on a personal level, right? Okay, I digress. I spoke enough on that. Let's bounce out of here. Love you guys. And I'll catch you, where's the camera? There it is. I'll catch you guys on the 14th, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day in the future. I'll see you guys then in a couple weeks. And let's bounce out. All right, bye for now.
Cool. You fall. Back on my shit with a new advantage. I leave it up to you to settle the damage. Diamond, yeah, I know it's foreign to him. I came from the guts of rural Alabama. Steph Curry wrist, watch what they handle. Simple motives, gotta lead by example. Not too many make it out when they doubt. Never been about bailing off of my route. Rain gang, got the city HD. Hate to see my brother die every week. Numb to your vision. My life got me too fucked up. Disrespect to make a nigga go dumb. Pillow talking while you nursing that bitch and turn you to a scrub. I let prices from the plug, Bay Shore, Ocean View, or win Adidas with the boots. Niggas out here slinging arbitrage, so the money really no excuse. Welcome to the realm.